Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, I think you guys know what we're going to be talking about. For the beginning news portion, we're going to be talking about the OpTic Texas rumor, not rumor anymore, I guess, roster change. Huke joins the roster. Talk about the implications of that, how we think it's going to go, what we think about him maybe being potentially the third choice for the roster. Is that going to pan out well? Will there be some awkwardness? What's going to happen with Dashy? We're going to talk about all that. A little bit of Challengers news as well. You know, Brock's guy Doug made some noise. Parasite came back out of nowhere and made a bunch of noise this weekend. And then after that, we're going to talk pick'ems and finally pick some matches again for week 1 of Major 2 qualifiers. Really excited to get back and see some more action because it's been a while. We had a little break for the holidays and we're finally getting back to it. If you guys enjoy this one on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We're at the time of this recording, I think we're at 888 for subs. 888. We're real close to that 900 goal. Approaching it faster than even I had hoped. So if you guys could continue that support, that would be awesome. If it's your first time listening, drop a sub if you enjoy. We'd appreciate that. Before we get into this news, though, Brock, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good today, honestly. Good Monday, honestly. You know, got like the 3 hours of sleep, but you know we're here. Couldn't fall asleep.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and about damn time to get back to this COD stuff. Matches this week. Let's get into it.
Yeah, about time OpTic made a change too, or at least told us what they were doing. We knew the change was coming.
Yeah,
we've been waiting forever to just hear what it is and talk about it. Because as we know, they're the thing that makes the news and the CDL go round. The team they bring in a lot of the viewership. They got the most fans. They bring in a lot of that. So it's finally nice to be able to actually know what their roster is and to speculate how they could look. And before we really dive into news, also we've been doing this a lot lately, but that's a good thing. We gotta thank you guys for the support on the last pod. Another one that approached like 2,000 listens on YouTube and bunch of new subs. And like I said, I was just thanking you guys for hitting 800 subs, and we're getting really close to thanking you for 900. And then that next step, don't want to talk about it, but it's the ultimate goal. The 1,000 was our goal for this season. So the continued support would be greatly appreciated. You guys have been killing it, and we that doesn't go unnoticed. We really appreciate the support.
Going crazy.
Let's jump into the news, Brock. Obviously, the news today and this week in general is pretty much OpTic focused with a little other stuff. It's kind of like a quieter time because we haven't hit like really like crazy roster mania yet. Like that mid-season roster mania where you see a ton of teams changing. It was basically just like OpTic, and then like we knew maybe like a 1-person change for Legend and stuff. But like I feel like post Major 2 is when we'll really start to get to like crazy roster change and like roster rumor type stuff. But today it's mostly focused on OpTic, and then we're gonna do pick'ems and wrap it up after that. We've had a lot of other roster news and like speculation to talk about the past few weeks in news wise, but today's just OpTic. Let's focus on that. That's what people want to hear about. That's Most people are probably tuning in here, so you know what happened. Everybody listening knows what happened. Huke for Dashy was the pickup. We're assuming obviously that means Illy to the main, Scump to the flex, and then the sub duo of Huke and Shotzzy. What do you think? Initial thoughts?
I feel like it's the best they could get at the time since they couldn't get Pred.
Yeah, or Arcitys really.
Yeah, and at least Huke has chemistry with Illy and Shotzzy, so that's good.
Yeah, I can pull that up. I had a note on that here. I have the tweet up here, I think, on the side. Yeah, Zio, what they call themselves, Huke, Shotzzy, Illy as a trio. They played 11 events together. I can't remember. I mean, a lot of them are probably online though.
Yeah,
and the World Championship, but still, they played 11 events together. In those 11 events, they had 6 finals appearances, 4 championships, and the World Championship. And their worst placing together in those 11 events was 3rd/4th. Which I think like 3rd/4th comes from like probably the home series events in MW.
Yeah,
and there wasn't like a third, like a distinct difference between 3rd and 4th. Just kind of bowed out at the same time, like the semis. Yeah. So I mean, pretty absurd record together. You know, you saw some people saying like, I don't care about stats from that long ago. It's really not that long ago. I mean, they played together as recently as Cold War early on in the season. They have a very good history together. I'm intrigued by it as well. The one parallel I had to this, I'm sure some other people have brought it up, but I thought about it right away. It's a completely different situation. We can get into how after we hear your thoughts on it, but it seems like oddly similar to the World War II OpTic situation, doesn't it?
It does a little bit.
They pick up Octane for Formal in that situation, so we're kind of like acting like that wasn't part of it because like that was their first pick for their main AR. But like that other swap for Karma in that game, they wanted Zuma and then Faze came back and offered him like the rumored like bag of a salary, brought him back. Then OpTic pivoted to John, who was one of the best subs in the game, on LG in that game, and then that fell through. That deal didn't work. And then it was like, oh well, the only other player that's free agent that we can get is Methods, and he made no sense for the team. So it's a little different because Huke I think does make a little more sense on this roster, and that's kind of my thoughts on it. But like that reminded me a little bit of this. They went for Arcitys, couldn't get it done. Apparently went for Pred, couldn't get it done, and then they like settled on Huke. But I mean, what are your thoughts on it? Because I mean, my thoughts are Huke is obviously a better fit for this team than Methods was in World War II, because that was like Octane and Methods just don't fit together.
Yeah, two slower players. For me, thoughts. I like it, but I just don't know how Huke will perform since he hasn't been performing the last like couple of years.
Yeah, I guess
it's kind of like if I feel like they did like get technically like talent wise worse. You would say.
Yeah, potentially. Dashy and Huke are just such different players. I feel like it's hard to compare them because they're both extremely talented, I would argue.
Yeah. But maybe the talent drops off a little bit, but the teamwork comes back to form. So who knows?
And I think you and I are also on the same page about that. Just it isn't always about accumulating the most talent. It certainly is never going to hurt you to accumulate a bunch of talent, but like sometimes a slight drop off in talent for much better team play is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
That could be premature too. Who knows? Maybe the team play doesn't get better. We're kind of assuming that it will, but it might not. That's not a lock.
Yeah, that is true.
But I don't know. I feel like we saw Shotzi talk about how their first day of scrims together went pretty amazing. And he loves playing with Huke, and they went like 6-2 in one map count, I think, against a team, maybe London. I can't remember who it was, but it sounded like their scrims went extremely well. They like playing together, and I feel like that's also part of it. Like this team maybe just needed like a refresh.
Yeah,
chemistry wasn't going so well, and sometimes you need that.
Yeah, sometimes you need to bring someone up, bring some new in,
and
fresh
like
blood.
And I don't know. I do. We talked about this in our tier ranking before Huke to OpTic was even a rumor, and we talked about it when the rumor started to come out. Huke has S tier talent. Neither of us are saying that Huke is an S tier player currently because he hasn't been for a little while. I'd say the last time he approached that and hit that form was either stage 1 of Cold War. He was like a favorite for MVP post stage 1 before kind of, we all know what happened the rest of Cold War. Yep. And then I would also say at that Major 2 that we attended, that was like MVP Huke form. That was an S tier player at that Major 2 last year with LAG.
Yeah, he just dropped like a 1.3 in the finals, I think.
Finals. Yeah. He was popping off. So I do think he has the talent. I'm interested to see. I would say some people are very negative, and there are people that are like, oh my God, Zio's back, instantly a top team. I'd say I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't think they're back, that they're instantly a top team. And then some people are really saying like Huke's a big downgrade. I also don't agree with that. I think we're going to see them maybe steady out. And I think if I had to say by the end of Major 2, I think OpTic will be a pretty clear top 4 team, I'll say.
Yeah, that honestly sounds pretty good.
Pretty good to me. I think they'll be up there like battling with like I think like Faze and Toronto will still for sure be at the top, but then like New York also, but I'm not completely sold on like Surge as the 4th team because like their inconsistencies, and we'll have to see how Pred wanting to leave maybe affects their chemistry and stuff. But I would say I think OpTic settles somewhere in like the top 4 after this event.
Yeah, I agree, honestly.
Last thing though on this is I don't know how you feel. I don't know how the community feels, but I left this whole roster mania type section with OpTic, if you want to call it that. Basically, like I think Pred to OpTic is a lock next year.
It is definitely a lock unless Third somehow pays the bag and a half.
I don't even think it matters. I think they'd have to give him an NBA max contract to stay.
That's what I'm saying, like a lot.
Like an unheard of, like 10xing the current max contract of what a COD Pro makes.
Yeah.
I think he's just so set on OpTic and his mind is set.
I
guess the only other way maybe he wouldn't is if potentially like he's not a free agent somehow. That'd be the only way.
Yeah. But definitely a free agent after this year.
And maybe we'll talk about that a little more, but you've been mentioning this, like not on the podcast, but Sib also sounds like a possibility. I could easily see a Pred and Sib joining like Shotzi and Illy next year. I do think like one thing I do think sucks for Huke, and we can move on to the Parasite stuff and get into our picks. But one thing I do think that sucks for Huke is I do think it's going to be pretty impossible for him to get more than 1 year on this team.
Yeah.
As bad as that sounds, because I think Shotzi's probably the future of OpTic. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
And I think Pred will be picked up over Huke.
Yeah. Huke's just
And
the gap filler.
And if they, whether or not they pick up Sib, that already leaves Huke in a tough spot. Because I cannot see Huke going to a main AR.
I don't think he wants to do that.
I can like maybe see him going to a flex, but unless something wild happens, I feel like Shotzi would continue and OpTic would prefer to continue with Illy as the flex. Worst case, if he has to move back from main after this year.
Yeah. I
think it's going to be very tough for Huke. The only way that I feel like he stays in this team is if he just absolutely goes crazy and they win like every event. I think it's going to be pretty tough. For Huke to stay. Or, I mean, obviously, if they win champs, I don't think they'll break up. Well, I guess technically they will because Scump will be out, but
doesn't matter for champs. Scump's out, everyone else is out.
Yeah, so that's mostly what we had in OpTic, and I'm just intrigued to see this team because I'm always a person that loves, no matter what team it is, I love to watch their teams. I'm extremely intrigued to watch how Scraps is able to play this week. For London, I just love new teams no matter who it is, so I'm excited for that. All right, then we got some Challenger stuff. I guess let's talk about Parasite and Dashy first, since we've kind of talked about OpTic before we do the Challenger stuff. Parasite, basically, to paraphrase this, is not obviously exactly what he said. You can go listen to the clip. I think maybe the Flank posted it, maybe CDL Intel. Like a lot of people posted it, but he basically said Dashy needs to not just go play Val and sit around and be lazy, is basically what he said. But he actually needs to continue to play the game, which I would argue sometimes maybe taking like the year off and like maybe he's playing Val and like getting to stream up like Methods did during a lot of what was it? Cold War isn't the worst thing.
Yeah.
However, this is an unprecedented situation. Like we have 2 years of MW2. So not playing the whole year and really setting yourself behind could really hurt you for next season.
Yeah. Definitely needs to keep grinding. Maybe not like as hard if he's not going to be on a team, but still grind the game most every day. Watch it.
But like you would think at least play like challengers, right?
That's a maybe, but I don't know. I don't know if he will.
I know.
Once the right team comes along.
Yeah, or maybe like at least like be grinding 8s and like stuff like that. Just to like show that you're at least still getting reps on the game and like are at least used to it and how it plays and stuff.
He played challenges. He dropped 2.0s.
Yeah, I will say though, I'm interested to see how quickly interest in him heats up because like, I mean, I don't know if they're on the same level, but I do think this guy gets some disrespect. Gunless was moved to the bench in MW and he gets some disrespect, but Gunless is a very good player, a very talented player, and he sat on the bench the whole year for Huntsman after getting dropped down there pretty early. I think that there's probably an avenue where Seattle tries to get Dashy. Since they kept Pred, they go all in for this year and they try to get Dashy for accuracy, but like, does OpTic let that happen?
It only happens if Dashy like goes up to Hecz and said like I want to go there.
Which like I'm assuming he's gonna want to go there. Like if you told Dashy like his option for after getting dropped was he could go play with Sib, Pred, and Mac, he'd probably be like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
but like
who knows if he really wants to leave?
And Hecz is like, yeah, I mean Hecz has always done right by his players. He's very good to his players, but like also at the same time, Hecz is not dumb. He knows that if Dashy goes to Seattle, that's a very big threat to them.
Yeah. So
yeah,
who knows?
That is interesting. You pointed out too that you thought Dashy could potentially like make his way back on the team for Scump next year if like he can fix some stuff.
Potentially, yeah. I definitely think so. It's like weird,
I don't know.
But
they basically broken up twice. I feel like it's like you can't get back together a third time.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. I just don't think they want to get rid of him, no matter what.
I know Hecz probably doesn't. They've grown pretty close to him, and he's been on the team forever, in the organization forever.
Yeah, they want to do everything they can possibly to work with him, and then if it doesn't go well, they got to go then.
Yeah, I guess. All right, now Challenger stuff. Speaking of Parasite and his comments on Dashy, he won the Challenger Cup. Third Challenger Cup. Parasite out of nowhere came back from not playing. He was like coaching, then he had to sub in at the tournament in Raleigh, and then all of a sudden he just won the third Challenger Cup. Who was it with? It was with Fire 40, right?
It was Fire 40. Yep, it was some dude named Lau. Apparently nasty. And
40.
Who else? I can't think of the last guy.
I got it. Fire 40, Lau, Johnny.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah, and then looks like where was it? The EU team. Harry Gizmo, Furious, and F that they lost, didn't they? They choked a 3-0 lead in game 7, I think.
Did they?
Maybe I don't remember. Yeah. Team Notorious wins in game 7 fashion, and they were down 3-0 and came back and won 6-4. That's
Jesus.
Eric Boom, Metals, Wee Man, and Maple. A lot of names we recognize there.
Mhm.
A lot of former pros there, and then where was it? In the APAC. Now I missed it. I don't know where they were, but a couple teams that won there. Pretty impressive to see Parasite basically come back out of nowhere and coaching and the flank and stuff and winning. And apparently he did the flank mid tournament.
Yeah, I did see him on the flank. I was like, is he still in the tournament or what?
And he won the thing.
Yeah, that's actually it's pretty funny. It's very typical, as I would say.
Yeah.
Out of Parasite.
Guy's just screwing around and half playing and he's winning tournaments.
He basically said like his teammates just carried him the whole weekend. He's just was there. That's what he kept saying. But
Those are some pretty good teammates because whether or not people want to actually believe it because of, he's kind of a meme. Fire is a pretty good player.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Johnny also, he shows flashes on Paris. Pretty good player. I don't know much about the other player, but I'm assuming he's got to be pretty good. He just won a Challenger Cup. It's not an easy thing to do. He's got to be a pretty decent player.
They said he was nasty. So
yeah. Last thing, Brock, you're hyped about this one. Doug in the Boston Breach Academy. We're the first team, I believe, to qualify for this season's Elite.
Let's go, Doug.
I think this might be the first time Doug made an Elite.
I think so too, actually.
See what they can do.
I don't think his team's been good enough.
Yeah, he's got a lot of talent on his team now.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of talent on his team now.
Jeff got the talent. Hopefully they win it.
That would be wild. The storylines on Twitter would be so great too.
It would be. Oh, Doug's just so good. He'll get back to the top one day in the CDL, win a world championship.
Yeah, we know you believe that.
I was trying to look up pull-ups while winning.
I was trying to look up if I thought that they had played a couple matches, but I don't really see it. Maybe not.
The Elite?
Yeah, I thought they had. Maybe not. I don't see any tweets he said about it. So maybe not. But yeah, he's there with who is it? Shawnee Kremp. He's going by now in Beans. So solid squad. Doug qualified for the Elite. So shout out to Doug. I think both Brock and I and basically all of Twitter wants to see him win because the storylines and content would be crazy. He probably added to his resume as a championship.
Facts.
And then say he's 5-0 in finals.
Yeah. We love Doug.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to see him win, or at least I'll be tuning in some matches. And Doug always makes things entertaining.
Yep, definitely does.
All right. We went a little longer on news than I thought we would, but that's always the case with everything. It always goes longer than you think it would because you get to talking and it just goes on. But we got picks to do now. This will be the last thing we do on this podcast. We're about 20 minutes in right now. Maybe these picks take, 20, 30 minutes. Maybe we'll get you out of here. And under an hour, a little bit shorter episode today because news-wise, it's basically just OpTic.
Yep.
Other than that, wasn't a whole lot. So we got pick'ems to do. I roughly looked at some of the matchups, kind of gave my thoughts or thought about what I was going to do. Pulled a little bit of map counts, kind of looked at some data and kind of came up with a rough idea of who I want to pick. But in going through it, the quick eye test, if you look at these matchups for 20, 30 seconds, the initial reaction I had was there's a lot of matches that you might think are lopsided, but that never generally ends up going very well. When you think a lot of matches are lopsided, then all of a sudden you pick a bunch wrong.
Yeah. Never really know.
Yeah. And we got a slightly new format maybe for Major 2. We want to do things a little different. I like the confidence points idea because it does, swing things if you feel really good about something and you're accurate. It's really going to help you a lot. But we thought it got a little confusing last time when we had 1 through 4 points and then an 8-pointer that you could use every week. Things got a little bit confusing. So we're going to simplify it down a little bit so it's maybe easier to follow. We're only going to be able to do 1 or 2 points on a match, and then we're going to have 1 4-point match. So the 4 point is basically the 8-point match. So I'm basically going to say let's say for the first matchup, it's Toronto versus London. I really think London's going to win. I pick London 3-0. I can put 2 points on them. And if they win, I get 2 points. If they lose, I lose 2 points. And then we just add up total points for the week and then overall for the major to see who wins. And then once a week, we can each put 4 points on one team, but we cannot do the same team. And whoever lost the previous week or in this case, the previous major gets the first pick, so they can like veto if they're going to put it on somebody else. So I won the picks in the first major, so Brock will get his pick at that. But basically, we're going to go like that. So a correct map count is also +1. So if I pick like a 3-2 London and they win 3-2, I put 2 confidence points on it. I get 2 points for that, and then the correct map count will be 1. So the max points you can get on that would be 3.
Yep.
No points for incorrect map counts. Just you lose the confidence points you bet if you get the match wrong, just like you would do if you're in like a football pick'em pool. It's kind of similar to that. If any of you have done that before. First match though, Brock. I'm the defending champ from Major 1. See if you can take me out this time. Toronto versus London are outside the United States battle here.
Toronto 3-1.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those ones I was thinking feels a little lopsided. Although I think there's maybe a possibility that London, with a new player in, brings some fire and is able to take him out.
They'll get him out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm always like, a lot of times when people like make roster changes, like when Minnesota brought in Standy in Cold War, I remember like I think I picked OpTic 3-0 in that match, or like really thought OpTic was going to win, and then Standy just came out and fried them, and they destroyed OpTic 3-0.
Yeah, that is.
Sometimes new players come in, but I also do think like London is arguably the worst team in the game currently, or like bottom 2, and Toronto's probably like top 2, top 3. So
yeah,
pretty big gap to cover. I actually agree with you. Oh, what are you going to do for confidence points? Yeah.
Toronto 3-1, and I'm going to put 1 point on it.
Okay. I'm going to do the same thing, actually, but I'm going to put 2 points on it. Toronto 3-1 with 2 points on it.
All right.
Trying to think. I actually thought about making this like a 4-pointer, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll do Toronto 3-1 with 2 points on it. I just think Toronto in this case, the clear better team, and I like to pick upsets, but I think I'd rather pick my upsets somewhere else. I'd like to see London play once with Scraps, and I might regret that because maybe they'll end up winning, but I'd like to see them play once with them to see if improvements are made. Maybe they look the same, maybe they look worse. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to see. That's how Scraps does.
All right, Boston, Minnesota. To me, this is like a good kind of like, I don't know, this is like a good measuring stick match for me. I feel like these two teams are kind of in the same boat right now for me. They're like hovering somewhere between like the 6 to 10 range right now, like anywhere in that whole range. It could be like middle of the pack. They could be bottom middle. They could even maybe be like top middle. I just don't know where they're at. So I feel like this is a good measuring stick. If we see one team really dominate, they're going to really rise up for me. And if we see it pretty close, maybe I still think they're both middle. But I think this is a good measuring stick match for me. I'll pick first in this one just because you went first. Man, Big Wake is back. It's tough. We haven't seen Boston really play together in a while.
It's closer than I thought it would be.
Oh, yeah. I always had faith in Boston, so it's not like shocking to me, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick. Oh, man, this is tough for me. I'm going to go ahead and say Minnesota 3-2, but I'm only going to put 1 point on it because I do think this is a toss-up match in my eyes.
1 point? All right.
Yeah.
I'm going opposite of you.
Say Boston 3-2?
Yeah, Boston 3-2 pulls it out. And I'm going
1 on that? Or 2?
I'm going to put 2 on it.
Okay.
So some tells me to put 2 points on Boston this weekend, and they're going to win.
Okay, is this kind of, you're kind of in the same boat a little bit with this one, though? It's pretty toss-up to me.
Yeah. Definitely coming down to the wire. Well, maybe round 11 search.
Yeah, like in comparison, especially to that first match, like I feel pretty good about Toronto winning. This match is like you're telling me at the end of the weekend, Boston won this one really in any fashion. I could see this literally going any map count to any team. Like that's how much of a toss of this to me. Like I could see either team 3-0ing, and like it's just there are two teams that are like at the exact same point in my mind. I think they underachieved in the first stage, and I think they both have high potential, but I also don't think it's a lock that they achieve that potential. So I don't think it's a toss up. Then we've got our final match on Friday. Vegas versus Seattle. This is probably along with that second match I talked about, this might be the match I'm most intrigued by.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, because like Vegas, I want to see how they build off their performance at Major 1, where they came out, finished top 6, and probably played a lot better than a lot of people expected them to. Yeah. In Seattle, I want to see how they're able to bounce back from like the whole Pred rumors. Like I wonder Is there going to be something off with their chemistry? Because, they are a team pretty predicated on teamwork.
Yeah.
So I want to see if they're going to be able to bounce back. I don't know. Where are you going with this one?
Where I'm going, I feel like Seattle would be a little bit flustered that Preds wants to leave. So all that such. So I'm gonna go 3-2 Vegas.
Damn it. I was going to pick Vegas here. And I thought maybe you pick
Donnie
Seattle.
Kemp.
This feels like it should be a point where I should just pick Seattle because it should be like a pretty free way for me to make up points on you.
I'm going 2 points as well.
Okay. But I'm gonna stick with my guns. I'm gonna say Vegas as well. I think Vegas pulls it out in a 3-1. I'm only gonna go 1 point on this one. I think that's wild that we're both picking the Legion
I know.
over the current runner up
I know.
in Seattle. But I don't know. I do think chemistry issues could come into play. I will say that's why I'm only putting 1 confidence point on it at 3-1 because boy, I could easily see Seattle coming out and still looking like the same team and being extra motivated to prove Pred that he made the right decision and they could just fry.
Definitely.
That wouldn't shock me, but I don't know. Something about this Vegas team, I feel like they're going to keep improving. And I'm also kind of like I am with London. I want to see how they play with scraps. I want to see how they come out of this whole roster rumor period and see how they play. Although I will say if there's one leader in person, I feel like that would just come out of it unscathed and come out of it well. It would probably be accuracy. Just be able to get his team laser focused and refocused.
Laser focus on this year. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Accuracy.
Yeah, we're both on Vegas. Kind of surprising, huh? It's not both on Legion is not a thing I thought I'd say a lot, really, ever.
Yeah, it's definitely tides are turning.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Makes things more fun.
Yep.
Okay, we got Florida LAG to start off the day on Saturday. Kind of a toilet bowl here, but Florida maybe not as bad as we thought. LAG, once again, another new look roster. 3 new players swapping in. We got Assault, Exceed, and Joe Deceives. Joe Deceives making his CDL debut. You can roll with your boys LAG, even though they swapped out 3 players.
Oh man. Yes.
You rolling with them?
I'm gonna. LAG is winning.
Okay.
What do I
Map
want to
count.
put? 3-1. 3-1. And I'm gonna put the 4 points for it actually here. We're rolling with it.
Man, okay. You're going with your 4 points on LAG.
Alex rallying the troops up for the big game on against Florida Saturday. Where was this?
I don't hate the pick simply because the fact that 1, I think Florida is still like one of the bottom teams. So if there's a team that LAG is going to beat, they're probably higher on the list. And 2, because it's kind of like a classic sports thing. Like you don't have film on the guy.
Yep.
And a random quarterback comes in that actually has some decent talent, but like they don't have any film on him. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of stuff on tape they can study and he plays a little better. I don't think it is a great 1-to-1 comparison to COD, but also like they have no VOD to watch on this team playing together. The only thing they can really do is maybe watch the Challenger VOD because 3 of them played together there and kind of like see how they played. That's maybe like the closest thing they have to it. But like, yeah, they don't have a lot of film on them. If this was a really good team, I'd maybe feel a little more confident in them beating LAG. But Florida's shaky. However, I feel like this is a chance for me to make up some points on you. And I also do feel like Florida has a pretty good chance to win this. So I'm going to go Florida. And I haven't picked any 3-0s, and I really want to start picking some 3-0s. But I think LAG's going to... No, I think LAG's going to come out just fine. I'm going to say 3-2. I'm actually going to pick it to be very close. I'm going to go 1 point again.
All right. Honeymoon phase for LAG.
Yeah, I do think that's certainly a possibility. That's why I'm also only going 1. I've done a lot of 1-pointers, but yeah, it's a tough situation, really, for me to put faith in either of these teams. Because LAG with a brand new roster and Florida's just not a team I trust that much.
Yeah, we still know we're gonna get some teams.
Yeah, but I'll say Florida 3-2 with a 1 point of confidence on it.
All right.
Okay, we got Minnesota London. Second match. This is where I'm finally picking my first 3-0. It feels weird. They're maybe not the best team right now, and London's a little bit of a question mark, but I'm going to Minnesota
3-0.
3-0. Putting 2 on it. Let's go big.
All right, not 30-0, but Minnesota 3-0. You know,
over London, yeah. It's another shaky one though, because once again, Minnesota, I don't know. I don't know if they're
It feels like Minnesota
Let's see.
always lets you have one game. You can have 3-1, not
Yeah.
3-0s.
That's why I'm scared. But hey, new stage, new team, new Minnesota. They're winning respawns now, which I mean I'm saying it right now. I don't even know if I believe it, but we'll roll with it.
Minnesota, I'll do 3-1. I'm gonna put one on it. One confidence point.
Okay. 3-1 Minnesota. We're splitting enough on some matches here, but next one is a kind of a grudge match.
It
Third match
is.
on Saturday. It's Atlanta versus Seattle. You know, the classic narrative around this match is that Seattle always plays them tough.
Mm-hmm.
Is true.
Atlanta's first match too of the weekend.
And Seattle's already got one under their belt. We'll have known going into this how Seattle looks post pred rumors.
Mm-hmm. So they
Who you
shake
got
it
this one?
off. Seattle 3-2.
Okay.
Shake off the rust. Get a W. Two confidence points as well.
Okay. I don't mind that. I'm okay with it. I'm gonna say so you said Seattle 3-2, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna go Atlanta 3-1. And I'm putting 2 on this one as well. I feel pretty good about Atlanta. It's kind of always like the classic thing with me too. Like
3-1.
yeah, 3-1 Atlanta with 2 points on it.
Right.
It's kind of like the classic thing for me. Like I've been this way. It's kind of the scared way to pick, but I've been this way basically since I did pick them. Starting in MW is like, man, Atlanta goes like 30 something and like 8 every year in their matches.
Yeah.
Like they win like for every match they lose, they win 3 or 4. It's very rare for them to lose. I do think this is one that they have a pretty good chance to be upset in because Seattle is, you know, a team that, for whatever reason, no matter the players, Surge always seem to like play them tough at the very least, if not win. And they played them tough at the first major. I think they have a legit chance to get it done. But, you know, for whatever reason, I've got faith in Atlanta. I do think that Atlanta's going to come out and look really strong. I kind of think going into this stage, they're my pick to finally get themselves over the hump for the first time in a little while. Like, spoiler alert, I think Faze are right now my team going into this week that I'm picking to win this major. Early on, obviously things could change. Come major time, I could feel different, but like they're the team that I'm leaning towards. I think this is finally the time Atlanta steps up and wins an event is this stage. But we'll see how it goes. That's why I'm going 3-1. Atlanta, I'm putting 2 on it.
Yeah, it's very good. You don't usually bet against Atlanta since they do win all the time.
Yeah, I mean if you're betting against Atlanta, I'd say odds are you're gonna lose a lot of money. Probably not gonna come out making money if you're betting against them all the time.
Yeah, I would most likely say that too.
Following up that match, though, we got another really great match, in my opinion. Maybe people aren't looking at it like that because Thieves didn't look the best in the first stage, but Thieves NYSL is kind of a banger of a match.
It is. And I just don't know who to pick.
I feel like NYSL could be due for a letdown. It's their first match. It's both these teams' first match of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like NYSL could be due for a little bit of a letdown, maybe a little bit of a hangover from the win, but they're clearly right now above LA Thieves. Like, there's no debate right now. They're a better team than Thieves, but who knows? Maybe some adjustments have been made. I trust Thieves with their coaching staff, JCap and Shane, the analysts over there, and the smart players and veteran players and how long they've been together to make changes.
Yeah.
But I also trust Sender and that staff over at New York, and I trust those players. It's kind of a matter. I feel like this is going to be another pretty close series. I could see this one going 5. I'll go with my pick first. I don't know. This one has 5 games written all over it. I'm gonna go with subliners, although I don't feel good. I'm gonna put 1 point on it. In the 3-2 subliners is only 1 point because, quite frankly, I don't know. Something about LAT is just scary to me.
It
It's
is.
scary. Something about New York, coming off the win. Sometimes, you have a little bit of a hangover. It's scary. That's why I'm going 3-2 with only 1 point on it. But taking New York, don't feel great about it.
All right. I'm gonna throw a wild one on. I'm taking LAT 3-0.
Wow, your first 3-0 and you're picking it over the defending champs.
Yep, the hangover's real.
You think they're gonna like struggle the whole stage, or just like first match jitters, like just gonna be a little shaky?
I think first match, honestly.
That'd be pretty wild take.
Put a 1 confidence point. Something about it wants me to pick 3-0 LAT.
I mean, I say it every week. That is your first 3-0 you picked 7 matches in, and I've picked 1. It's probably bound to be more than 1 3-0 through the first 7 matches.
Yeah.
Like 3-0s always happen. It's just hard to pick a 3-0 because when you're looking at teams, at least for me, I don't know how like listeners out there or you are, but like when I look at two teams, it's like even if I think a team's way better, it's just like a lot of times you're like, oh, they'll get 1. Like you want to bet about them getting like 1.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know, sometimes it's not the case. But this is 2 competitive teams, so I'm surprised this is where you picked your first 3-0.
I know.
Selfishly, I hope it's not because I feel like this could be a banger series. So I'd like to see it go 5.
Yeah, definitely. I just you gotta go for it. See if it hits.
Yeah, I'm for it. It'd be pretty interesting, and Twitter would be interesting if Thieves are able to come out and just 3-0 New York, and that's the only match we see New York on the weekend. So people would maybe be calling them out or something.
Yeah, like frauds.
Yeah, but let's move it on to Sunday. We've got Toronto versus Florida. Maybe a potential blowout match. I mean, I haven't been picking too many upsets. I've basically gone. Maybe the one upset I picked was like Vegas over Minnesota, or Vegas over Seattle. Sorry. Maybe I guess maybe you consider Minnesota over Boston upset. But that's kind of even.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm wanting to pick Florida, but also that would mean I pick Florida to go 2-0 in the week. So this isn't really the place I want to pick my upset. So
Hey, we did see London go 2-0 the first week.
that is very true, and then they haven't won since.
Yeah.
I am gonna pick Toronto here. I think this is where I just talked about it. I'm gonna go with a 3-0 after I said I was thinking about Florida.
All right.
Oh man. I'm torn between the first and last match today to throw my 4 points on.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna throw it on today. I think Toronto's gonna come out with the fire and they're gonna want that 1 seed. They're gonna come out frying. I'm gonna put 4 points on this one in a 3-0.
All right.
Although man, it's just like I thought about going to the last match because I don't have faith in your LAG boys, but I'll say Toronto 3-0 and I'm putting my 4 pointer on that.
Yeah. I will also be picking Toronto 3-1 because they got Major Maniac and he'll give you 1. I'll put 1 confidence point on there.
Yeah, Major, we'll get you 1. Probably get you the S&D or something.
Yeah. To go off one of the maps.
Although I think actually, I'm going to save what I'm going to say for the end because I think maybe at the end we are a little shorter. Like we're probably only going to go through these picks about 40 minutes. Maybe we have like an extra few minutes. I'm going to say like, what kind of storylines do you see coming into this? Like, is there some storyline you think is going to build up? We'll do like a little mini like Q&A kind of segment after this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to save what I was going to say. It has to do with Toronto. But I'll save it for after these 2 picks and we can get the picks all wrapped up. But next we've got probably the most anticipated match of the weekend. OpTic versus Boston. Huke's debut. OpTic's new roster against a pretty good opponent. Like it's not like they're coming out and playing one of the bottom teams. Boston is whether or not they're playing like super well right now, they're a solid opponent. They're going to give you a tough series. You're not going to be able to walk over them, I don't think. We got Texas versus Boston, and it seems like Boston, since their inception, I don't know how many wins they have against OpTic. I didn't look up that stat, but it feels like they do play them pretty tough. I remember them beating them pretty late in the Vanguard season on like a reverse sweep, and people didn't expect it. But where are you leaning there?
Ooh. New team, new vibes, new era. 3-0, Texas.
How many are you putting on it?
I'll put in 2.
Okay, I'm on the same page as you. I do think OpTic's going to win. I'm going to say 3-1. I think maybe the search and destroy is a little bit off. They're not as polished as Boston, and they dropped the search to Boston, but I think they come out and they set the pace and respawn. I do think this has a sneaky potential to be some banger respawns that maybe you wouldn't think, because I do think the speed of OpTic, the pace is going to pick up, because, I would think Scump's going to be a pretty fast flex, although he is a pretty pre-aim heavy player at times, but I think the pace of OpTic is going to pick up, and I think Boston with Nero and Vivid, we know they'll match pace. So I think this could be a pretty fast-paced, close 250 to 240 hard points and exciting maps. I think Boston takes the search due to just reps together and the lack of practice. That's the one thing that does scare me for OpTic, though. Their lack of practice reps. They're only going to practice basically like yesterday, Sunday, through like, I guess, Saturday before this match. They only have like less than a week of practice. So I don't know. We'll see how they look, but I'm going to say OpTic wins 3-1, drops search. I'm going to put 1 point on it only, though. I'm going to go a little safer here, a little conservative.
It'll be the battle of who has more pace.
Yeah. Pretty much, they'll be running at each other. I'm expecting some entertaining respawns.
They'll be running each other, and then Zinni being the far back, just chilling.
Yeah, Zinni will be back there, and Illy maybe will match his pace and chill too.
Yeah.
Okay, Brock, last match. Battle of LA. Maybe as you looked forward to stage 2 before the year, you thought this would be a great matchup of two Goliath teams. Obviously, LAG did not hit your expectations.
Wait, they're the Goliath.
LAG,
Yeah.
LAT. Although I will say, I don't remember what the exact record is. Kind of like this, I could be completely lying, but I remember that one year. I think it was Cold War. LAT literally, they were probably the better team overall. Actually, they were because LAG was like the worst team, but LAT could not beat LAG in Cold War.
They're saying there's a chance.
So like, I don't know. Battle of LA, you never know. Maybe LAG has their number or something.
I'm not gonna pick LAG for this one, unfortunately. LAT 3-1.
Okay, you're going with a little bit more blowouts. I guess I am too. I have a 3-0 and a 3-1 as well.
I'm just putting 1 point.
1 point on them, 3-1. You said.
Yeah.
I'll go different than you. I'm gonna say LAT 3-0. I'm gonna put 2 points on it. I just feel very confident that LA Thieves is gonna win this because like I think they're a top tier team, even though they maybe didn't look like it. And I think Thieves or not Thieves, Gorillas are gonna take a little bit of time to figure it out. That's why I'm gonna go 3-0. Just go bold and hope it hits with the 2 points on it. But it'll be interesting to see because I do think that like the Exceed and Joe Deceives duo has sneaky potential to like outperform our expectations and make LAG much more competitive this weekend than we might think.
Yeah.
I just am really hesitant on that Arcitys and Assault duo.
Yeah. The slow players.
They could have major pacing issues.
Yeah,
With
they
Arcitys and Assault are slow and Exceed and Joe Deceives are just run. It's going to be a really awkward split and some pacing issues might occur big time.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That's why I went 3-0, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, then that's it for picks. The one thing I want to do, I thought of it with Toronto, is what are like some narratives you see? What are going to be some things that dictate who wins Major 2, who looks good in the stage, who maybe is making a roster change? The first thing I thought of, like I'll give you an example, because we didn't really talk about this in prepping, but my example would be Toronto. I kind of think this is like I'll explain what I mean because I think it sounds bad and I doesn't mean to be bad, but I think this is like a career defining stage for Scrappy, and that might sound dramatic. I'm not saying like if he plays bad, his career's over and he's gonna suck, or if he plays great, like he's gonna be the best player ever. But I think like he had a great stage 1, like one of the better stages we've ever seen from a rookie, numbers wise, and even like eye test wise, he played very well. I mean, he was looking like a top tier player. I think this is a big test for him where I think if he continues that momentum and Toronto rolls, which they play London and Florida this week, they have a very good chance to go 2-0. Wouldn't you say they probably have maybe the best chance of anyone to go 2-0 this weekend?
Yes.
I mean, 2 very winnable matches against London and Florida, 2 of our bottom teams. I think that this could be a career defining or at least like season defining thing for Scrappy in Toronto. If he comes out and fries again, regardless of who they're playing, and they go into the major as a top seed, like 3-1, 4-0, whatever their record is, pretty good record, and he's frying. He continues his case for MVP, like in his rookie season, basically locks up Rookie of the Year with another really good stage. That momentum could be carried, and like they could use that momentum all year to just keep riding and being a top 4 team. And if maybe he comes out and is shaky, maybe teams don't really fear them at all, and they don't. They think, stage 1 was a fluke. Like he's a rookie, he's young, he's inconsistent, and then the cracks start to show, and people get more confidence against them. So like that's kind of a narrative I have. Like I think Scrappy could like clearly, I mean, I think he's top player already, and everybody does, but like he could clearly establish himself as not only a Rookie of the Year favorite, but an MVP candidate, and like propel Toronto forward to being a favorite for the rest of the year with a good showing this stage.
Kind of like Simp from Black Ops 4, kind of.
Yeah, somewhat similar. I guess like slightly different because he was like a mid-season pickup, but like on the same lines, yeah, like with another good showing here, like he could just become a dominant rookie. I don't know. It's hard for me to say he could have that much of an impact because I still think eye test wise, Simp and Black Ops 4 might be the best player I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well,
So that's a little tough to say, but like a somewhat similar impact. Like a good performance could basically like lock Toronto in as a top 3 team for the rest of the year in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely.
You got any like narratives you got building in your head, or like make or break points for a team?
What I want to see is Atlanta Faze to be the team that everyone fears again.
Yeah, the top dogs.
The top dogs. They haven't won like in what 7 events in the last 7. They haven't won
Well, their
anything.
last win would be Cold War champs, right?
Yeah, they haven't won like 6 or 7 events. So
Yeah, so I guess if you include the 4 majors in Vanguard plus the Pro-Am in Vanguard plus champs is 6. And then this year's openers, about, unless I'm missing one, about 7 events.
Yeah. I want to see them become the team that everyone fears again, because I feel like when people play them, they don't fear them. So, they're just playing their game now. Like in Cold War, you played Faze, yeah. You're shaking.
Yeah, you played Faze, you got on the map, and you felt the presence that you were playing the best team in the game.
Yeah. That's what I want to see Faze go back to.
I still think you get on the map and you still feel that you're shooting against Simp and Cellium and Abezy. You still feel that. I don't know. That's interesting because I still think like I said, going into this major, like if I had to pick a team right now, I'm picking Faze to win this major. I don't know. I have a feeling this is the time they click with Slasher. I will say like I want to see Cellium speed it up. That's how we saw the other teams have success. We know Abezy and Simp will speed it up, and like obviously Abezy, you probably don't want him to speed it up in most situations because he's already going so fast.
Yeah.
But like I think the way that becomes a reality, your hope is that Cellium speeds it up, and we know he's got the talent to just run around and fry. Like, let's see him speed it up and kind of get to that New York pace. Let's get Faze playing at the New York pace.
That'll be fun to watch.
That's my main narrative I want to see. Obviously, we've got other ones. The big narrative for the stage is will Huke bring OpTic back to form and back to being a top team? Are these young players building blocks for LAG? Can LAT get back to form? Can Vegas build off top 6? Can teams like Minnesota and Boston pick it up? Like, there's a ton.
He's back a superstar player.
Yeah, okay. Can Florida not be bottom 4?
Yeah.
Like, there's like a lot of narratives. Obviously, we're still in that stage of like we only had 4 matches and then barely a couple matches for some teams. Like we've still only seen some teams play 6 matches, maybe even less, 5-6 matches. So like, there's still a lot of things we have to do to figure out teams that we're like, I'd say we have the piece of paper out. We penciled them in, but we've got the eraser ready to move people around where we are. But we're like starting where at major 1, we were just like blindly like kind of shooing people in and had an idea of where they're going. Now we've slightly penciled them in and we're ready to solidify them, but there's still some moving to be done. So I feel like after at least the first set of matches in this stage, we're going to have a little bit better of an idea of where we rank teams. I'm excited to get to that point because then we can really start to deep dive and get analytical and nerdy about all the stats that are going on with teams.
Just excited to watch some more COD finally.
Yeah. Narrative-wise, well, that's all I got. You got anything else before we wrap it up? We're at about 48, 49 minutes now, so that's pretty good length for a pre-episode.
Not really. No, I don't really got anything else.
All right. I don't either. That's about usually the pre-episodes we're picking are a little shorter because we don't have as much to analyze, not as many matches to talk about, teams to talk about. We're going to have more narratives, obviously, after this week, and we see some matches and maybe are starting to panic about some teams or really settle down and feel confident in some teams. But that's going to do it for this one. Like I said, we're very close to 900 subs. If you guys would help us out, if it's your first time listening, drop a sub, drop a like, drop a comment down below on your thoughts. We've been getting a lot of comments lately. We've got our boy in the comments that likes to do copy pastas that I always laugh at. Yeah, I'm looking out at you. I'm looking for you to beat your Mind Gym comment. I still think your Mind Gym comment with the Zinni and Krim is your best one. I'm looking for you to beat that. Anybody else? If you're out there, drop a comment, drop your thoughts. What do you think about Huke to OpTic? Obviously, the big talking point. Who's your early favorite to win Major 2? Who you have your eye on? You got Faze, a common pick. Obviously, New York's probably going to be a common pick. You think OpTic's maybe the favorite? You think Surge are going to be motivated by the Pred potential move? LAT are going to bounce back? Let's hear it. Who you think are going to win the Major? That's going to do it for this one. Like I said, if you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next week with our analysis and reaction to the first set of matches for Stage 2, as well as any other news that might come up. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.